I told him where you'd be here.
Oh yeah, I'm here.
How you doing?
One day we're gonna go.
It's a minute or so to spare. You get bring water.
Damn, somebody write this down.
I'll check
Let the minutes reflect.
Let's put this in the diary. Put this down in the diary.
No.
We wouldn't pick on you, would we?
No, it wouldn't be right.
It's only we know you too well.
It's all right.
I know you to do.
It's all right.
I saw your daddy today.
Did you? Uh-oh. What was
I
he
spoke
into?
highly of you.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
He said he
First time
appreciated
there?
it, but I don't think he did.
He knew better. He knew better.
How are you?
There he is.
Why?
What? I beat you.
I let my dogs out.
Who let the dogs in?
They come first.
I beat you. That's all I'm saying.
I have 5 o'clock. Let's call the meeting to order. We did receive an email message from Mr. Weber indicating he would not be present tonight. So this is all of the board members that we will have. The minutes of your December meeting were a part of your mail-out distribution. Are there any changes or corrections that need to be made to the set of minutes?
Motion approved.
Have a motion, is there a second? Have a second. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye. Opposed say no. It is approved. Next are your financial reports. There are several pages of these. Your summary page that shows actuals versus budget is your top page. Again, showing that you are ahead of the budgeted projection for this point in time in several of the line item categories. You're ahead in sewer connections, water sales, tap fees. Several of those components, it's putting you, looks like 25.5% better than the budget year to date, and that would be without grants being factored in. Questions about the summary sheet, and then your detailed sheets are behind that. Answer any questions or go through any of those that you have. Hearing no questions, do we have a motion to accept and approve the financials?
I make a motion to approve.
Mr. Moore makes a motion, is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Jewell makes a second. Other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. It is approved. Number 3, Catherine Dobbs complained about no notice prior to disconnect. Tommy, you want to talk a little about that? There is a sample email in your packet that we believe can be done using the software, provided we have the right and correct email addresses for our customer base.
But this works, I get this from where I signed up on to pay my bill online. It notifies me a couple of days before the bill's due if I haven't paid it. And it also sends me a notice out what I owe right when the bill comes out as we mail it out. It sends me the email, your bill's out, it's this much money. Then you get a couple of days notice for the 10th, and they're doing an upgrade on it. They say they might can add a couple of days notice for the shut off. And if they can, we'll add that. But you do have to, the customer does have to, whether you use online bill pay or not, you can go sign up, fill out, and take a little time to fill that out, put your email address. It may even let you have a text message. And they will get that a couple of days before it's due, and it'll help them remind them. And that's a cost-effective way to get that. You don't have to pay, I don't pay my bill online because I work here, I just pay it when I come in. But I set mine up to get this message and not just to show y'all that this is what you get.
Is that something you have to do at the office, or?
You can do it online at your home. You can go on the computer, online, the website, and sign up, fill out all your stuff. And we, you know, if somebody needs help doing it, we probably could do it here and help them figure out how to sign up on it.
Do we have any way of knowing how many people are doing that, or have done that?
We got a call the other day because somebody was upset because they got it. They said, well, I don't want this sent it to me, but it comes out naturally, you know, so.
Go run my internet bill up. Send me all them emails.
Text message, email.
That's the only
So
bad
this is
thing I
email
know.
though.
It's an email. You might can send a text message, I hadn't checked into that.
I would say that a text message would probably be more apt to reach people. I don't check my personal email unless I know I'm looking for something. And in all likelihood, if I've forgotten to pay my water bill, I'm probably not checking my email either.
There is a program through North Central as well, where if you can collect a batch of phone numbers, it will robocall reminders, and it's pretty cost effective. It's minimal per month for a large batch of numbers.
We've been trying to collect that from customers. We've been asked, the ladies have been putting that in their accounts, asking for good emails and phone numbers. And we always try to get it from them. They don't always want to give it to you, but we do put them in the software on their account, so we'll have it. If we ever get to produce a file to do that, it'll be already in there.
And I would think a large number of your customers have and regularly use a cell phone, so a text message would work.
If I know a lot of our customers that get cut off, it's usually repetitive, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Do you think a text message would help them? Okay.
Well, no, you know, there's gonna be those first timers that forget or something's going on.
Hey, I did one time.
I do too.
Or if you have an illness in the family or an emergency, you get off cycle, and I know that happens.
Until I went home to eat cereal and I couldn't wash my bowl.
I went home, my wife said something
I
wrong
got a
with
leak.
water.
There wasn't a leak.
Hey, it happened to me once on the electric side.
That's what I
I
put
forgot to pay my
on.
bill. I said, I got to put that on automatic.
I put it on auto pay. I said,
Dude,
this ain't happening
what
again.
percentage of your customers are auto pay?
Lars said about 600 are on the draft, on the
Draft,
bank
bank
draft.
draft.
And we got about 3,000 customers.
I know.
We always tell people if they are late in getting that situation that we do offer these options, and if they want to, a lot of them sign right up when they fail to. We get a lot of people sign up for not paying on.
I did.
But right now, we do not notify them.
Yes, we do.
We do.
When you come in and sign your contract, they go through all that with them.
I know, but I'm saying,
It's on the card.
No,
if it's
on
this
the-
week and you're gonna cut me off, you don't tell me you're gonna cut me
They've
off.
not done that in 20 years.
I know, I just want to
Yeah, I
make
know.
sure.
It's
So
on
this
your
would be,
bill.
this would be a departure from normal if we try to send them some sort of phone call, email,
I
whatever.
argued with one of your predecessors when I had forgotten and was cut off, and I asked, why is it every other utility in the world sends a late notice and the water department doesn't? And of course, his excuse was, we can't afford it, and I'm like, well, you charge me this much on the 10th, and if I don't pay by the 20th, it goes up $4 or $5. I said, we can't afford to print a letter, put a stamp on an envelope, that $4 or $5 doesn't cover that, but I see now on this side of it that it's the, you know, the headache of having to do it, but the headache of having to send a man back out there to cut it on with a mad customer.
But if this billing system will generate it automatically,
I'll check in on the
Then-
text part of it.
then I think that would be worth doing.
If it's text or email, that would be the customer's choice. If they'll have that choice. but I'll check about the tech for them.
Like you said, they're mostly repeats anyway, but
Yes, sir.
For the one that does forget, it'd be a nice, friendly customer service kind of thing.
I didn't know.
And then if that did not work, I would support using something like the North Central system to send out mass robo texts.
We just need good contact information
Right.
from the customer. And like I say, the ladies, every time they chance they get, they'll ask for that and they'll log it in on their account. So the hopes is when we do that, if we ever pull a file, it'll propagate that file to send to North Central to do that. And make those notices. But we are trying to keep that, pulling that data together.
Did you know about this system?
No.
Did you?
Just ask.
Not our billing system, no, I did not.
It's the first time for this lady.
I knew about the
We
North
pay in
Central.
we pay in,
I don't know exactly.
person, cause there's a fee to do it online, so we
Right,
can do it.
right.
Very cheap, you know?
I don't have any home finances, my wife.
Yeah,
I was just wondering. I'm wondering,
Honestly.
I'm wondering if it would do us any justice to maybe run something in the paper saying that we offer this, and you can,
we can.
and I don't know how much that would cost us, but at least we're trying to do our part on trying to let customers know that.
Well, you might be able to talk to Chris and let him help to write a story that, and it be in a prominent place within the paper so that your customer base that gets it,
I didn't know about it, and I would, if I missed my phone bill, I would appreciate a text message. So,
Or
instead of
email.
coming back, or email, that'd be fine too. Just whatever you prefer. Some people stay on the email all day, and some people don't. But I think that would be a good service for us to maybe just put some in the letter, put in the paper saying that we
you
offer
could
this.
do either mode, and if you're using the billing system, it is in essence cost effective,
Right.
either an email or a text message.
I just think you're more apt to capture more people with a text message than you are an email.
We'll see about it.
I mean, I'm constantly on my work email, but I never check my personal email.
Well, I haven't sent you work.
And it's gonna get lost with the 9 million other emails I'm checking every day.
That's just my thing.
Well, looking at it from the customer standpoint, you have people that pay their bill every month, 20 years, and all of a sudden they slip up and forget one and their water's turned off. That's a hard pill to swallow for people. I mean, it really is. They don't understand that. And, having been on that side of it, I must say at that point in time, I didn't understand it either, but, I do now. But I think the biggest thing is when it does happen to somebody within that situation is how it's handled when they do come in and go out of your way to try to get them to sign up for the draft thing or whatever.
People take advantage of that.
And I know we can't extend grace to one and not to everyone. I know that that's an issue as well, but,
Still ain't figured that one out.
Tommy, did you have something
I
else
was just
to
gonna
add?
say that update, they're gonna update that online bill pay, which may bring this other thing to bear where they can get a notice before shut off. If we can wait till then, we might work on a piece of the paper, make sure that's gonna work or not. I'd like to be able to.
Get to write a nice article, water department.
It might be another month before we know whether that's gonna happen.
Yeah, I know.
But we can definitely
Get
do
your water
that.
here, nowhere else.
Anything else on fourth item?
People like free services.
I'm good with anything that keeps you.
We always send a letter when something's going up or
It's part of
something's
that.
bad gonna happen to somebody. Might be a good opportunity to
Go
send
out
some.
your way on that, still get yelled at.
Yeah.
That's why they don't think they deal with that. You're right.
Next is your water loss report. Month of December, your unaccounted, is at 42.8%. 2017-18, it was sitting at a little over 29% same month. So you can see this thing has fluctuated up and down, and It's hard to pin a logical reason sometimes on why there's these fluctuations like that.
We had, this last week or so, we had trouble with filling the tank over Ore Hill. It got,
But that won't be reflected in this
not in
report.
this report.
It'll show up in the
Show
next
up next
report.
time. But we can go back and look at our tank data, and we can pretty well account for how much loss that is, and I'll record that myself. I'll try to record that loss. Cause you can tell, we couldn't even fill the tank. Water set right at the base of the tank, and the pump kept everybody in water. That was the savior of all of it. If we'd had anything bad other than what we found, a pretty good 6-inch leak with a broken fitting, split one and two up here right across the river bridge. Used to have a big gravel hole right there. That's where we fixed it. And we went out at night and spent several days trying to find that leak. We finally backtracked it back to the plant.
Questions about your water loss report? If not, we'll accept that and move to the next item, which would be your engineering report from mid-10, Evan.
As far as the SRF, which y'all approved last meeting, we started on a facility plan. I've made it to the site and walked to the top of the hill. Looked at it about getting a little additional topo. Carmen's done it 2009.
He had a partial.
He had a partial, so it's not really where we're wanting to go. It's towards the bottom. So I was trying to look at the site there, and CDBG. I talked with Faye this morning, the grant administrator, and she said that right now we're hung up in the environmental phase. She's got to get it to ECD, and what they have to do is they have to send letters out to like 30 agencies, and they got 30 days to wait for comments, and I think it's become quite a hassle this time to get. What's happened is all these places has got everybody's requests, so they're bogged down, so they're having trouble getting them all back. So
I had to comply with a part of that in my role as fire department, and we had to identify all of the above ground fuel storage tanks within a mile of where each zone meter would go. That would include farm tanks as well as commercial tanks. And so there's, in some of those zones, there's quite a few farm tanks that'll hold 200 or 300 gallons of diesel, but that's about all they're gonna contain. But that part's done. I've sent it in to Faye. I've gotten a reply back from my part of it that she's received it. I don't know what the next step.
ECD has just, once all this has been put together, ECD signs off on it, then they release us. Our plans are about, plans and specs to bid it out, bid documents, all that's about 90% complete. So, I mean, as soon as we get a release, we'll be ready to put it in the paper and move on. We're waiting on them. They won't give us a number, to put on the plans and all that until they approve, the environmental, so. We're just waiting, on that part of it.
Questions? Tommy, we'll move into your report next.
We had a generator at the main lift station, went out, had problems, and they actually came and replaced a component on it, and it didn't fix it. I came back and looked at it a second time. It was a minor cost compared to the fix for the second thing that was wrong with it. And I included in this package, I didn't have it when I printed it to you, but I added that quote from them for the repair of that unit down there was $32,500, $600. To buy a new one is $46,600. And there was some confusion about that being a quote from Sourcewell. It was not, but it was straight from Nixon Power. It is it's a Kohler brand generator. It was an emergency purchase. It's emergency. It needs to be fixed as quick as possible. And they're going to have to do the same labor to install a new one versus take this and out, break it apart, repair it, put it back together. we got the same labor bill involved in it, just buying a newer, updated unit but the old one's about 18 years old.
Tommy did bring this to the executive committee, which is the mayor and myself. Given the factor of cost of repair versus cost of replace, they were within a range of one another. And again, if you repaired, you still had an old unit that you were attempting to work with. So I can't speak 100% for the mayor, but from my standpoint, my input was, to me, it looks better to go ahead and spend the money and get a new machine that will mesh with all of the other components. Mayor, if you want to add anything.
I'd just add, I know they've tried to repair it. I think there's been several times tried to repair it. Am I correct on that, or was it just?
We had one, there was a small component board burning, they thought that's all it was, and then he put that in and it didn't fix it, which I don't know why they didn't know there was something that's wrong with it to begin with. He got over into the major motor part of it where it connects to the part that generates the power. There was a rotor broke, something was wrong with it. He said it's $32,500. Well, price me a new one, cause I wanna know the difference, why I pay this much money. Cause if something's wrong with it once and he didn't catch it, what if he fixes that? If something else wrong with it. A motor goes out in it at 10 years old, it's gonna cost you $10,000 or $15,000. So I'd rather. just
Have
check
they
it
put
out.
it in? Is it
No,
on?
I ordered it.
Okay,
Because it was, we went ahead and ordered
do they have any idea when?
He's supposed to give me a timeline to get it here. And we do have a plan if something's an emergency. We got two options. The emergency service agreement, we have Wascon, they have a generator type pump that can be hooked up and pump the sewage if we have to. There's a hookup out there that can be bypassed and they can pump it to the plant if
We have
necessary.
no idea when we'll receive it and have it in place.
You know, it took almost 3 or 4 months to get, and it ain't here yet, the first one we ordered, it's on its way though. It could be 8 to 10 weeks,
Why?
They make them
they build them.
as you order.
They
Oh.
order 'em.
Well,
And
maybe
that
we're
was
getting it from the wrong person.
That was another reason to allow this to expedite through the
Sure.
Yeah, that was the other reason.
executive committee, was to gain a little bit of extra time before the full board met.
We also have a account with a rental company that can provide us the generator in its place if necessary. And we'll be paying attention to bad weather and things and be having that lined up, they can haul it here on the car hauler. and set
Is
it
the
up.
old one still functional at this point?
No, it don't function.
It's dead.
No, it's dead.
I'm with Mark. I mean, as far as going new versus rebuilding something
Well,
ancient.
we had it.
That's what we
I'd rather
recommend.
done.
But my two questions would be, one, how quickly could they get it to us and get it in? And then two, looking at this, it only comes with a 1-year limited warranty, but the option for a 2 and a 5-year extended warranty, what would those costs be?
We can ask.
And the only reason I'd even bring it up is most of the time when I'm talking about new, I wouldn't be too concerned with an extended warranty, except that with it being an electrical component, and we're not gonna use it all the time, it's just kind of a standby thing, right?
Standby, it's just there.
It's, but it's hard on them sitting there too, not being used. So I'd be curious
No,
what those
it'll at
costs
least
would be.
it'll have to go through a crank and test run periodically, but you're right, it might not go through extended usage for a long period of time.
We're gonna have to put it on a schedule to exercise it on a regular basis without a doubt.
They do. All of ours
I think
do.
that's
on
already-
time.
It's once
We
a
have a
week.
contract
doesn't
with
it?
that. I think.
It's once a week it starts up, and then usually once a month it's a full load.
Yeah, that's how all of our generators do.
I think as long as it's doing that, no more than it's gonna be run, I don't know that it would be, but,
We found this out when they were changing the power.
depending on what it
poles.
costs.
$32,000.
For an extended warranty.
Yeah.
I mean, that'd be my, how much is that?
But just for this, that warranty there was same warranty. You would have received the same warranty if we bought it we got the Sourcewell price and it was 52 something. They got a better price straight from Nixon Power, was their Kohler dealer. Before I did this, now I called Thompson Cat, and I said, this is what these guys told me it's gonna cost. Does that sound about right with what's wrong with it? And he said, yeah, and if we did it, we would have to charge you more because we're not a Kohler dealer. They'd have to buy the parts at a higher rate. So he said, you're probably in the right range with that repair. And that's when I asked the man, will give me the new price.
So your first price was 52.
That was from a Sourcewell. We did
And then this
ask.
price came back at 46.
His price came back at 66.
I'll ask about the warranty.
They might be the option to add it later.
The executive committee approved the purchase at 46.6 as the bid shows in your packet. If you wish to change anything, we would need those specifics included in whatever motion. I would ask that the full board confirm what the executive committee has voted to do, and then if you wish to add any extra parameters to that, do so.
Like you said, you can ask, and we can probably come back to that later.
I think
This would at least
we
get you
get,
in business.
yeah, you always have the option to re-up your warranties at the end of those warranties if you choose to.
I just think it'd be a good question to ask.
Yeah, we can ask it.
I make the motion that we approve the pre-approved amount of $46,600.
Have a motion?
The second.
Have a second? Other discussion? All in favor, say aye. Any opposed, say no. It's done. Thank you.
Greatest job in the world.
You can't pick on the warranty.
Thanks for those two. Good, we'll see.
Tommy also included, and this is as good a place to stick it, I guess, a report on the prison water and sewer consumption. There is a breakdown going back to January of 18 and bringing you forward through the month of December. A portion of that beginning June of this year would show the prison at the newly established rates that are the same for other rural customers. And you can see their water usage based on the gallonage is also been up and down too. I don't know whether that reflects leaks or what it does on their side of the system, but the month of September they had a large usage compared to other months around that.
We have run into some situation where we found why they had leaks. They have that muffin monster out there. It's got solenoid controlled valves that run sprayers, and we've been out there and found them wide open. And we told them about it, tried to warn them, but call their supervisor that takes care of maintenance. We let them know what we find when we go look. And, so they do. If we see something, we call them and let them know. That way I know one time they had something they couldn't shut it off. They said if they did, it'd burn something up, and that's why they're letting it run. The water. So
well, the following month their water consumption dropped significantly. So
Might have been it after that.
The last 2 months have been
pretty stable.
pretty, consistent. I'd say if you average this all out, they're averaging right at between 5,000 and 6,000 a month for the last year and a half, probably. Some a little lower, some a little higher, pretty much.
But that gives you a snapshot of the prison's water and sewer usage. And again, remember, we did not budget the new money that this would generate in the existing budget. It'll be factored in as usual and ordinary revenue in the next budget cycle we put together. Questions? Mr. Satterfield.
First of all, I say thank you to Tommy. He, under the new, law, the schools had to do water lead testing. And we had no idea about that. And he provided us a lot of assistance and insights. And, we come out of that pretty well. We only had one location of about 180 that tested, that was over the threshold. And, we quickly shut that down by law, notified our parents. We put a filter on it, we retested it, and it showed no detectable
Where was it?
traces.
Which one was it? Where was it at?
It was at the elementary school.
Which?
It was a water fountain in the 3rd grade wing.
Okay.
And the one right beside it,
Had it been replaced? Is that?
it was a brand new
Yeah,
water fountain.
brand new one.
Brand new water fountain. And the water fountain right beside of it was negative. So David swore it down as bad test, but I can't attest to that. But I do appreciate all your help. But, and then David, brought this to me. He said, Clint, this is something you need to probably read here. He said that it looks like, you've got a new fee on your fire sprinkler system. And I would just like some clarification on, like, I don't know if I understand, like, I understand the 15 cents per sprinkler head, but it also talks about minimum bills and the size of the line going in buildings. Can you explain that fee a little bit?
Well, like every customer that has service, metered service, has a minimum bill. These aren't.
And what is that minimum? How much is that minimum?
1663 here in the town,
Okay.
and outside the rural areas, it's higher. You would be on the 1663.
So the minimum bill is 1663.
That's
Okay.
for 2,000 gallons.
Well, it don't on this part don't
Okay.
matter.
Is it based on the size of the line? Is the size of the line of it?
The size of the line is based on the multiplier of that minimum. If
Okay.
the bigger the line is, the more minimums you'll pay.
Okay, so how am I charged is what I'm saying. If I've got, let me see here, at the elementary school, I've got 240 sprinkler heads. So is that 15 cents? The 240 be $36 or something like that? But now am I over the minimum bill, or do I have to charge the minimum bill and per sprinkler?
The minimum bill just, there's no gallon tax.
It's like a base charge.
It's just a base charge.
Okay, but what I'm saying is, am I charged the minimum bill
Plus.
plus the sprinkler head?
Yeah.
Okay,
And
so
then I don't know if y'all have fire hydrants around your buildings that y'all own. They're on your line.
There's one at the high school.
I don't know which, we've
But
got fire hydrants, I don't know who.
Any
owns
fire
them.
hydrant we have on our mains would not be taxed by that or be charged to you.
How can I delineate?
It would be
which
tied,
ones?
if your main going into your building feeding your sprinkler system, it would be jointed off of it running around your building. Some schools have a hydrant, so many hydrants around their buildings, some do, but it runs off their fire line.
Your hydrants around the high school, some of them are probably belong to you or the school board.
Okay. How can I tell?
Get with Tom.
You can help me.
I told
Yeah.
Mr. Cawthon be glad to go with
I
him
think the
and
ones-
confirm the line sizes and make sure everything's right. Be glad to go out with him and do that.
I think the ones at the high school and probably the ones at your middle school are gonna be utility-owned hydrants that are on the edges of the property. But I know that high school, when it was constructed, you all ran, because it had a large footprint, you ran some other hydrants at other locations around that building.
And I know the one at the multi-purpose facility, practice indoor new building, that one is a fire, not yours, it's fire line.
But you can help me with that.
And sprinklers are not on a metered distribution center. So they're just feeding directly off of the main without a meter registering or constricting that flow in any fashion.
Okay. Now, but what I'm saying, minus the conversation of the fire hydrants. So I pay 16 $16.63 for the line going into like the elementary school, and then 15 cents per sprinkler head. Is that what I'm hearing?
Well, it's 1663, depending on the size of the line. If it's a bigger line, it would be a multiplier of the 1663.
You're
What
probably
is-
looking at 6 or an 8-inch line.
6 or 8 each line.
I think all
It's
we've
normal.
got. I think all we've got is 6-inch line.
Most of them would be.
That-
Probably.
That's what we're running into the fire station is a 6-inch.
Yeah, that's.
Inside.
So that's
I'm saying that's
1663.
typical.
Typical.
The thing, the reason for it is if you flush your fire lines like you're supposed to, flush them once a month or something, you're just, that water's being used, they're not being paid for.
Because it's not metered.
Because it's not metered.
Yeah,
Now,
I understood that.
If you have this on a meter, then you'd read the meter, you could just pay the
That's just
minimum
for
bill, you
fire.
wouldn't have to pay the charges per sprinkler.
Not for
What,
customers.
if you own
Fire service for sprinklers.
the fire hydrant,
They're not metered.
it's not on,
You only had
the
one
other
leak.
line,
in
how
it.
much is that
Four or
minimum
five
bill?
days to get you guys.
$15
We lose
$15
water,
a month.
money.
$15 a month.
That's what I'm reading.
It's one reason.
Right.
Yeah.
If we have water.
Okay, so Tommy can help me with that.
Yes.
So does, schools get any type of discount or anything?
We haven't talked about that.
We have not.
It's, there's 6 minimums at 1663 on a 6-inch line.
Say it again.
6 minimum, 6 times
16,
1663
6 times 16 on a 6 inch.
on a 6-inch.
99.78.
Ooh.
Or you can meter it, you can put a meter in, if you wanna buy a $21,000 meter, we'll be glad to put it in.
That would be one minimum to that.
Oh, great.
So you beginning to understand?
I'm just trying to wrap my head around it.
Well, I
Seriously.
mean, right now, it's what I was gonna ask the board tonight, whether, we not billing anybody yet, we did pass a policy, I sent out the letter to get this information in, and if they want to, we can get this information and let them look at it again, and it's up to the board.
I would like for you to please consider that.
Well, what I was thinking, because budget year's coming, and we don't have to immediately start charging that, they could
Could be deferred. to
defer
some
to
point in
budget
the future.
year
Sure.
to where y'all would be able to plan more.
I've already paid $3,500 for the lead water testing that I didn't anticipate.
We didn't require it.
Oh, I know. Just another company to buy, you know.
Well, as a parent, I appreciate you doing it,
Yes, yes. We,
especially in that third grade wing where mine's at.
And Clint, to give you a little background, as we were updating some policies that the water department has, we found that we had no policy on the books that pertained to sprinkler fire suppression systems in any of the buildings, commercial or residential, that might happen. So there was nothing on the books. So at least this was a start, and it was patterned after what is being used in some other utilities. It wasn't the small group of us sitting around the table trying to decide what seemed to be fair and logical. But that's a little background, but we did not discuss any type of a fee break for a school or government entity that's on this system. So we simply
Never crossed my
applied it
mind.
across the board.
I've never even thought.
Well, if y'all would please, and I appreciate your thoughtfulness in this, but if, Tommy, if you could find time to help us
Yeah.
a little on this and maybe get back and be able to tell the board what that would cost the school.
I think that's what we need to do, and see, we have no way of knowing until you say, please come out here and help us count these and figure this. And that's kind of the way we had hoped. It was mainly to gain the information of who has this, how's it gonna affect them, and then we were gonna try to take a look at it once we had all that information. It's why it's not in effect yet, per se.
Thank you for your time, thank you for consideration. Again, I appreciate Tommy, he took us a long way when we knew nothing where to start, so appreciate it.
Well, and just, we weren't picking an individual with this with this fee base, but when we look at customer, we kinda have to look at all of them the same, we can't pick and choose, so it's hard to make us sometimes and not treat everybody the same.
I understand, I have to tell parents that every day.
Yes.
I think it was easier to put the policy in place and either try to figure out on the front end who you're going to exclude.
And we sent out the letter that you received just to gather this information to get an idea, and like I say, the board might like to review that. I was not gonna start billing immediately until we could look at some of it, but it did pass and we probably could bill on it. It's not that it couldn't be, but we need that data to do that. And
We'll get to work on it.
I've got some other people that were talking, they got some letters similar to that, and, picked up on what about the backflows? What's the qualifications for?
a backflow is required on a fire suppression system. No matter what
Okay,
size.
so if you do not have a fire suppression system, you do not have to have a backflow.
How about on your domestic water line?
Not domestic, commercial.
It just depends on the usage of that building, whether you have to have a backflow, correct?
Okay. If it's
Say if it's a business that, maybe, using an acid to clean something that might get into the water system, then yes, you have to have backflow.
what about residential apartments?
Well, only if there's some type of, say if they had something that might push something into the water system, like a chemical or some kind of technology that cleans something that may have a chemical in it, could push water back or suck it back into. Because in a home, like if we have a water line out here in the ground, it's got 80 pounds of pressure on it. Well, if it goes to zero, breaks in two, your house starts to suck water out of it. It'll start pulling water out of your water. Your water heater will start sucking dry. It'll start pulling that negative pressure, starts a siphon effect. And that's what a backflow does. It stops that from happening. It keeps it.
Just a little flat valve in essence that drops down, and when the pressure drops, seals it off.
These new meters have that built in?
They have a check valve, but it's not, the backflow, the laws for the cross connection say it has to be a testable device. You have to be able to put a device on it, pressure test it, make sure it functions.
But they do have the check valve.
The reason I added that language, because there is one building I think, it's the one that shut down here in town. It's Fred's building. It's got a fire line, but I ain't seen no backflow. And by law, by Tennessee code, the utility has to make sure it happens. We're mandated to make sure. We were supposed to work a cross-connection program that makes sure those things are backflow correct. It's our responsibility. They hold us responsible for it. So it's not trying to put people in a bad situation. It's just the law, and it's what we're supposed to do. Unless there's one in the building, but in my record, I don't think we even tested one there, so.
I mean, they worked over the fire gongs anyway, so.
Now, he disarmed that when they shut it down and it's drained, cause it's all shut off. But when he did that, he actually shut off his neighbors that are in the building as well. I think there's a place in the back, I think it killed their fire protection when he cut that off.
DTF?
It's
I
the
thought
guy.
they were separate.
It's the guy that's got the furniture place in it.
Oh, okay.
Richard
Clarity.
Larry.
I think he killed him when he killed all that, because it all runs off that one main. So it's.
But I think DTF.
And that's the thing with us. We had a situation, and I've shared this with the board out at ARC. They had a leak, and it took nearly 5 days to get them fixed. And that's water loss to us. We lose money. We don't get billed for that. We don't get paid for that. People can use that water in a way that they should, because it ain't metered. And there's times in our system, and it happens, they said, the board said it happens about the same time every year, about December. We'll have some unexplained water. It just goes back to normal. It very easily could be somebody opening a hydrant on one of those lines and doing something with it. Very could easily be that right there. We don't have a meter to know that. We can't troubleshoot that, because we don't have it. But it's very possible for people to could abuse them, and misuse them.
And Clint, just as another little piece of info, we're under a lot of scrutiny and pressure from the state to get a handle on our system's water loss. We know we pump a certain amount, we know we sell a certain amount, and the gap in between is lost water. And we're expected to close that gap through any and every step that we can take. And if it's getting a better handle on the fire suppression systems, then that's another piece in that arsenal that we can use to close that water loss gap. It's getting to the point that a lot of our grants are tied to that component, that factor, and then on top of that, we've got old infrastructure in the ground that just naturally has some leak points. And we'll probably never fix all of those.
It's 1, 2 more pop up.
But that's a little background. You didn't ask for all of that, but that's just a little extra of where our thinking was when this came about.
I just appreciate you
We'll help you.
giving me time. I
We'll
appreciate it.
help you.
Thank you very much.
Craig, did that get your questions
It did.
about
It did.
other devices? Okay.
Sure did.
Other board members have comments or questions about that as we're at this point?
I will state that the rules, procedures, whatever we call them, did go through the commission on the first reading. It'll be up for the public hearing, second reading next month. So there was no real discussion.
If any of us, you sense that we need to be present for that second reading, just let us know in advance.
When we haven't, like I say, we haven't had any real questions on it. There are more questions on the one that's trying to get done for us.
Other comments that need to be brought before this board tonight? Have a motion to adjourn.
Second that bad boy.
What's your supper?
Don't know.
We'll hold and find out. Mark, good to see you.
Good to see
Thank
you.
Thanks, sir. See you, man. Sweet, good to see you, man.
Yeah.
Hey, you working out?
No.
Oh, you got pretty stiff. Right, 7 pages.
Riding a dump truck there.
Riding dump truck. I've been all day.
Thank you, Tom.
Just pulling up in and
Well,
out.
thank you, man. I see y'all. Good to see you.
So you think they'll get done tomorrow?
First one. All right. He got jump up there and start getting stuff on my shoulder.
Oh, yeah, 141. You just gonna keep them. You know, until you get
Well, I'm gonna try to talk to that boy.
Yeah.
I want to see that.